Good afternoon to you. Jim McIlvain with Optima Batteries in Optima's Ultimate Street Car Series. Back out at Thunderhill Raceway, beautiful Willows, California, for the Falken Tire Road Course Time Trial. Cars have just come out on course, making their way around on their warm-up lap. We are positioned, if the signs on the track are any accurate indication, at turn 10. The first run group out, from my vantage point, appears to be the fastest of the afternoon. Give you a quick rundown of who's fast after the morning session. Danny Weller in the Outlaw class with a 157.6. Jake Jackson out of the Viking Shocks GT class with a 158.7. CB Ramey in the After Dark Speed GTS class with a 159.3, and Lane Farka, as we see Danny Weller go by. Lane Farka with a 159.9 out of the Lingenfelter GTL class. Jake Jackson goes by there. Jackson put that 158.7 down. I expect this would be Ramey with the 159.3. Special thanks to Matt Busby for allowing me to park in this location. John Lawrence coming by. He ran a 2 flat with a 2 on the end. And Matt Ramirez in the Mustang ran a 202.2. Bob Sobey following him with 2 flat with a 7. Brian Hobaugh ran a 201.9. Jason Trantham ran a 204.5. Jordan Priestley ran a 205.1. In the truck class, you've got David Carroll with a 206.7. Back over to Brandon Hurst in the Tesla with a 207.3. Coda Atwood a 208. Dustin Reed a 209. Frankie Trutanek, the Outlaw class, 209. And Robert Foster, last red Corvette in that run group, running a 209 in the morning session. I'm getting an error message. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming as such viewers will experience, that's my hand, buffering. Try to improve my Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is not great out here. Everything else, pretty good. Wi-Fi, limited at best. So I apologize for that. At speed now, Danny Weller comes through the turn. That looked like sparks coming off the back of his car, but maybe not. Jake Jackson behind him. Going to give you an update on the Peak Performance Challenge, which wrapped up here this afternoon. The rain had started to come, and that's when we cut off the live stream because the camera was out in the elements and wanted to save it for this, which we did. Finishing in 10th place overall. Oh, some flames coming out the back of Matt Ramirez's ride. 10th place overall on the Peak Performance Challenge, Frankie Trutanek in the 2017 Corvette, white in color, 30.496. 9th overall out of the SpeedTech GTV class, Ryan Breezy in the 69 Camaro with a 30.417. 8th, his father Terry out of the Lingenfelter GTL class with a 2008 Corvette and a 30.376. 7th, Jason Trantham, 21 Corvette out of the After Dark Speed GTS class with a 30.375. Also out of that GTS class in 6th, CB Ramey with a 2024 Corvette, 29.987. Coda Atwood came in 5th out of the GTS class, 22 Tesla Model 3 with a 29.863. Fourth fastest, also GTS car, Jordan Priestley, 21 Tesla Model 3 with a 29.780. Third was Lane Farka out of the Lingenfelter GTL class in the 2015 Porsche GT3 with a 29.703. And it was a battle at the front. Second place, Bob Sobey, 2013 Nissan GTR with a 28.779. He got into the 28s, but so did Brandon Hurst. 21 Tesla Model S with a 28.558. So Sobey and Farka break the stranglehold that the Teslas often have in the Peak Performance Challenge. And CB Ramey within striking distance. He had a 29.887, Dakota Atwood's 29.863. So just a few thousandths of a second separating those two drivers. The awards ceremony will be coming up live. We're going to do that on the USCA Facebook page until such time that somebody really thinks we shouldn't. I think the audio would be better doing it that way. And our fans are used to watching it there. Although we thank everybody who's been tuning in here to watch it. Appreciate the viewership and hope that it's meeting your modest expectations. So I saw one car get pulled out of here yesterday. Thought there might have been some damage to it. Turned out not to be the case. It was a mechanical issue. Trying to find that car right now. I'll get back to that. Should mention the overall top 10 on the Winrock Speed Shop Design Engineering Challenge. 10th place, Ryan Breezy, 69 Camaro. 9th place, Darren Voges. Good finish for him, that red 69 Camaro. Steve Wojciechowski in the powder blue and carbon fiber F100 finished 8th. Jordan Priestley in the Revolting Performance Tesla Model 3 finished 7th. Dustin Reed, beautiful 72 Chevy C10 finished 6th. David Carroll just ahead of him in class and overall. 5th place with the Chevy Blazer. As I see more flames popping out of Matt Ramirez's car as he crests over the hill. And I expect as you watch this car come through the turn, we'll see more flames spitting out of the car. There comes a couple. Yeah, I should tell Caleb Kelly, get himself over here and grab some cool shots. 4th place passes us right now. Brian Hobaugh in the 73 Camaro in the Winrock Speed Shop Design Engineering Challenge. 3rd place was Ramirez, who we also just saw go by. 2nd place, personal best for him, Brian Riley. Beautiful Camaro. Hey, I appreciate that you're still interested. And the winner, Bob Sobey, the 2013 Nissan GTR overall winner in the Winrock Speed Shop Design and Engineering Challenge. So congratulations to those competitors. And as I mentioned, the awards ceremony coming up. George Diaz scratched from this afternoon's session. He's got a fuel pump issue. It still works, but it's not great. And George drove here. And that might surprise some people, but there's more than a few people who drove here. Kyle Nemechek, series first-timer in contention for that first-timer award. He also drove here. Jason Trantham drove here. Now, I'm not sure if Brandon Hurst drove here, but he did last year and posted a picture, which we've shared, of his Tesla Model S going through the Donner Pass with about 10 feet of snow up on the side. And the Donner Pass is shut down right now. Lots of our competitors normally take the Donner Pass. It's impassable. 12 to 15 feet of snow actively falling in that area. And when we came into the track this morning, we saw snow-capped, not just capped, snow-covered mountains off in the distance where we're at. So there's been a fair amount of precipitation. There was some in the early afternoon session on the Peak Performance Challenge, more so than the morning. There was just a couple drops in the morning, but it started to pick up in the afternoon, then it went away. See some flames from Brian Hobaugh on the inside of his car. But that's exhaust. It's supposed to be there, not like cars on fire. It's a problem. Bree, thanks for tuning in and watching. Dare to Dream Motorsports, thank you for tuning in and watching. I'd like to say at some point maybe we'll get some better camera coverage. Dare to Dream, shall we? Coming in now, David Carroll. And earlier today, I have photographic evidence. Jeff Gloniak coming over the crest of that hill into 10. Back end came around on him, and he slid down the hill sideways, flat spotted his tires. I've never captured a vehicle. I've captured a lot of vehicles creating smoke of various types. I've never had anybody create smoke sideways like Jeff Gloniak did, coming down that hill. Hey, Hawkers, thanks for tuning in. Sorry we didn't see you this weekend and didn't see you at Sebring, but we look forward to seeing you soon. Jeff Gloniak slid down that hill probably 75 feet, right where Dustin Reed is right now, and he's backing off a little bit as that might be CB Ramey coming up on him. It is CB Ramey. CB looking to make the pass, but designated passing areas, it's the responsibility of the passer and the passee to make sure that happens correctly. Maybe CB's on a cool-down lap. I was told because of the manner in which these cars came on track and exited track, they were given an extra lap during their session because they were efficient about it. They came on at 50 to 70% race speed as series director Jimmy Day requested. Got out there, did their deal. Nobody got off track, got mixed up or anything. And if anybody spun out, they came in self-reported as they should. And it went really well. In fact, the whole event all weekend long has gone really well. I see Coda Atwood pulling into the garage area. He's off track now. And the Tesla is really, you know, for the advantage that they have on the Classic Car Liquidators Autocross and the Falken Tire Road Course, and the Peak Performance Challenge, they're really at a disadvantage on the road course. They've got one lap in them, basically. Because of the state of charge of the cars, and kudos to Tesla, they just put in, I don't know, 8 superchargers over the hill over by the West Course. And the 3 Teslas out here this weekend as we see Brandon Hurst coming by in his Model S. After every run they get done, they head over there because I think the closer they are to 100% state of charge, the faster the car will go. And it doesn't go into a limp mode, but reduced power mode for kind of conservation's sake. So I think the Greenlight TV crew that's doing our video work for us captured those guys over at the charging station yesterday because I went over and took a picture of them, taking video of them. And for those who are wondering, Tesla pays for those superchargers, and hats off to Tesla for doing that. I don't know if we had any influence on that because we were here last year with Teslas, and they didn't have that luxury. They had to go find a charger. But I know those guys are appreciative that they have it this year. So that's probably going to wrap it up for this run group. The cars that came by on that last lap, pretty much all of them at 50 to 70% speed. Cool down laps, making their way off course. DriveOptima.com is our website. You can go there to learn more about this series, how you can compete in your street car, and you can. Oh, here comes Brian Hobaugh. He might be one last straggler here on the cool down lap. I wouldn't call this Hobaugh's home track, but pretty close to it. Laguna Seca, he's got a couple tracks in the area. go over the top 10 unofficially yesterday on the Classic Car Liquidators Autocross. Out of the Viking Performance GT class, Matt Ramirez in the 2004 Mustang was 10th with a 47.005. 9th out of the GT class, Jake Jackson, the 2018 Red Camaro, 46.859. 8th out of the After Dark Speed GTS class, Coda Atwood with a 22 Tesla Model 3 with a 46.757. 7th out of the SpeedTech GTV class, Ryan Breezy with the Silver 69 Camaro, 46.665. And we do have more stragglers. Brandon Hurst coming through. He finished 6th yesterday at 21 Tesla Model S with a 46.204. There comes Robert Foster behind him. Those were the last cars to come out on course, so I would expect they'd be the last ones back in if they stayed out for the duration. 5th yesterday, unofficially, overall, and fastest in the 9 Lives Racing Lucky 7 Outlaw class, Danny Weller. 2019 black Camaro with the big wing. He led this run group out on course, 45.741. 4th fastest out of the Lingenfelter GTL class, Lane Farka, the 2015 Porsche GT3 with a 45.647. 3rd fastest, CB Ramey, 2024 Corvette. Black in color. He was in this first run group, as were most of these cars. 45.428, and just 8 thousandths of a second faster, Bob Sobey, the 2013 Nissan GTR with a 45.420. And then less than 0.4 of a second faster than him, Jordan Priestley, the 21 Tesla Model 3, the Revolting Performance Tesla Model 3, 45.063, the unofficial fast time yesterday on the Classic Car Liquidators Autocross. So that group has come off track. Next run group getting ready to head out. Give you a look at the schedule for the season here in Optima's Search for the Ultimate Street Car, or as we call it now, Optima's Ultimate Street Car Series. That includes the Invitational, which traditionally has taken place in Las Vegas in conjunction with the SEMA show and immediately following at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Although one year, the COVID year, we did have it at Circuit of the Americas. High Performance Expo is what we called that. Never intended to be a competitive event to the SEMA show, just an opportunity for vendors and companies and individuals in the automotive aftermarket who wanted to do something during the COVID lockdown to stay engaged and active with the automotive aftermarket, and that was where they had their opportunity. So we started off the season at Sebring International Raceway. I can't call that my home track. I still consider Road America my home track. I keep a place in Wisconsin but live in Florida. Sebring's about 2 hours, 15 minutes south of me, and Daytona's about an hour and 15 east of me. And the Freedom Factory's just over an hour, a little southwest of me. March 1st to the 3rd, that's this weekend, we're here. Thunderhill Raceway, Willows, California. Then we take a little bit of a hiatus. Not all of us. Jimmy Day and his crew will be headed to Australia in April to run Optima's Ultimate Street Car Series over there. Love to get one of those cars stateside. Maybe the winner one of these years will come over stateside. If we can get some more sponsors on board in Australia, maybe we can make that happen. We'll return to action on the West Coast. May 3rd to the 5th, we'll be at WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca, California. So we'll stay out west. Then another little bit of a hiatus. We resume June 28th to the 30th at Road America, Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. A month after that, we'll be back on the West Coast, July 26th to the 28th at Portland International Raceway, and that will wrap up the West Coast portion of the series. We'll return to action a few weeks later, August 16th to the 18th, Summit Point Motorsports Park, a new venue for us, and we're excited about it for 2024. And then October 4th to the 6th wraps up our regular season. Virginia International Raceway is the locale. Then after that, we'll be looking at the OPTIMA Ultimate Streetcar Invitational and who gets invitations. Now, the format, for those unfamiliar, each segment here is worth 100 points on a weekend. There's 5 segments, so a perfect score is 500 points. No one in series history has ever gotten 500 points. Bob Sobey, competing this weekend, has come close. As we see, the next run group is headed out on track. Josh Wojciechowski out there, I see. Chris Allen, among others. Cedric Hunt, rather, rookie. We've got the Road Rally. We have the Classic Car Liquidators Autocross, the Peak Performance Challenge, the Windrock Speed Shop Design Engineering Challenge, and this, the Falken Tire Road Course Time Trial. Points are assigned 100 for first place, 99 for second, 98 for third, and so on. Now, the 9 Lives Racing Lucky 7 Outlaw class operates in their own little world, and so does the Downforce Motorsports GTR class. Lane Farka leading this group out on track, followed by Ryan Breezy. And it looks like Rick Ray, but it's Keith Smith because Keith Smith looks a lot like Rick Ray. And then Brian Riley, followed by Josh Cummings. And we have Michael Arley in the Camaro, Josh Wojciechowski in the F100, and another series rookie, Jay West in the maroon Mustang. Second pack of cars coming up here. That looks like Sergio Ramirez, Chris Allen, Cedric Hunt, Jeff Gloniak on a new set of tires, and Sean Fogley in the Honda S2000. So the points are distributed. Thank you, Clayton Yates. I appreciate the feedback. Points are distributed regardless of the class that you're in. So you're really, in essence, competing against everybody. Very similar to the format of the OPTIMA Ultimate Streetcar Invitational, where we only crown one Ultimate Streetcar each year. Class Cups, but only one OUSCI winner. Then you get broken into your groups, your individual classes, and we have several of them. Going to go over those as well. But your best 2 events of the year, for all those events that we run all over the country, and there's 7 of them. We try to make sure there's at least 3 west of the Rocky Mountains, in or west of the Rocky Mountains, because we've run Colorado before, Utah, and then 3 at least east of the Rocky Mountains to geographically make it as fair as possible. The Lucky 7, the 9 Lives Racing Lucky 7 Outlaw class, we only invite 7 cars. They all have to run at least 2 events, and it's based on points. Their best 2 outings. Everybody else, we're going to award an invitation to either the class winner or the top finisher in each class that has not yet qualified. So, for instance, Bob Sobey won the 2023 OPTIMA Ultimate Streetcar Invitational. He's got an invitation to come back and defend his title. If he were to win today, the invitation would go to the runner-up, whoever that might be, Jordan Priestley or Brandon Hurst, whomever. And if, as the season moves on, if the second place and the third place guy get it, then the fourth place person gets the invitation. So talking about the classes, first we'll talk about the Downforce Motorsports GTR class. That's for replica vehicles, and they're not just like, I made a Lamborghini kit car out of a Fiero. Check it out. It's factory authorized replicas. So the Superformance Cobras, Daytonas, GT40s, and we've had them all run in the series. They're eligible, and any other replica manufacturer that is authorized by the factory to produce those. Those are considered continuation vehicles. And the Superformances, those GT40s we had running last weekend, their title is 1966 vehicles. So that's who runs in the GTR class. The Lucky 7, sponsored by 9 Lives Racing, the Outlaw class, You get a little bit relaxed aerodynamic rules in that class. So there's some of that, and they do not compete in the Winrock Speed Shop Design Engineering Challenge, so they are not eligible for the OUSCI title. But we had a lot of guys who run in time attack events and wanted to come run the series. They enjoy the concepts of what we do on the track. Their cars are kind of, in some instances, beyond the full fit and finish of a typical Ultimate Street car, which when you look at the Camaros and the Mustangs and the Corvettes at the SEMA show, the nicest examples, not just the nicest, but the nicest examples, plural, will all be found on grid with the Optima Ultimate Street cars, inside and out, front to back, under the hood, in the trunk. These cars have all the best parts, the ones that make it to Las Vegas. Built to be driven on the roads and enjoyed on the track, and they are. So the Nine Lives Racing Lucky 7 Outlaw cars, certainly they're all still street legal, as they have to be to compete on the Road Rally, but just not to the fit and finish level that, you know, most of the other cars in this series are. So they're not eligible for the OUSCI title. They compete for the Nine Lives Racing Lucky 7 Outlaw Cup once they get to Las Vegas. Then we have the Go Moto GTC class. Now that's an interesting class. It's mainly a wheelbase and engine class. So it's intended, as the C indicates, for the compact cars. We only have one running this weekend. It's coming up here after we get past Chris Allen's 63 F100 and Jeff Gloniak's F100. Actually just made a pass on Gloniak coming into 10. That's Sean Fogley in the Honda S2000. 107-inch wheelbase or shorter non-V8s. And it can be a modern car like that S2000 or a Miata, MX-5, Honda Civic, Dodge Neon SRT4, or it can be an older car, like an older Porsche 911, the Lotuses, as long as it's not a V8 and the wheelbase is in line. There's actually, if you had an Iron Duke Camaro, a third-gen Camaro, 4-cylinder or even a 6-cylinder, the wheelbase is short enough on those cars that you can compete in the compact class. The latest iteration of Mustangs are off by an inch. Otherwise, Austin Barnes, with his 4-cylinder Mustang Turbo 4 EcoBoost, he could compete in the Go Moto compact class. But that's who goes in that compact class. Then we have GTS class, sponsored by After Dark Speed. And this is where you get into the year breaks and the weight breaks. 3,200 pounds is our weight break, so it's cars that weigh more than 3,200 pounds that are two-seat coupes and all-wheel drive sedans. So your Dodge Vipers, heavier Corvettes, Subaru WRXs, heavier, well, the Nissan GTR would run in that class, the Teslas. Pretty much gives you an idea of the type of cars that run in that After Dark Speed GTS class. Then there's the No Limit Engineering GTT class for trucks. Has to have been sold and promoted and marketed from the factory as a truck, a van, or an SUV. And we've had everything but vans. We've had several SUVs run with us. We have one this weekend, David Carroll's Blazer. Josh Wojciechowski runs in that class, just passed us right now in his F100. That's who lives in the truck class. Doesn't matter if it's old or new. Stephen Dorick's been dominating lately with basically a late model Cyclone version of a Nissan Frontier. It's a 2005 Nissan Frontier, but it's all-wheel drive. I think he's got a sequential transmission, analog brakes, traction control, twin turbo LS, over 1,000 horsepower. Just bananas. Blew up his transfer case last weekend, but a very, very tough truck to beat. David Carroll, though, very capable in his truck, and he does very well in design and engineering, as does Stephen Dorick. So you got that truck class. Then you have the Speed Tech GTV class, pre-1990. As we see Keith Smith coming up on us right now, he's in that class. Pre-1990, two-wheel drive, weighs at least 3,200 pounds. Doesn't have to be a two-seat coupe like a Corvette. Garrett Randall, for instance, doesn't have to be a two-door like a Mustang or a Camaro. It could be a sedan, but it has to be pre-1990. That splits the third-gen Camaros, Fox body Mustangs. Oh, we lost the camera. Awesome. Madre, thanks for the feedback. Bree, did we really lose the camera? It's still showing that it's running for me. All right, well, anyway, I think it's there. Oh, message retracted. Okay, thank you, Bree. But hey, if the camera goes down again, let me know. I've got a spare battery here ready to go if it does. So that's the vintage class. Then we go to the Lingenfelter GTL class. That's the lightweight class. Now, who falls into that lightweight class? And before I get to that, I should mention also the outlaw class. If you're not the owner of the vehicle or the builder of record, you must compete in the outlaw class. If you don't meet the minimum weight requirements for the other classes, you'll get pushed into the outlaw class. If you have ever been a professional driver in your career, so when Paul Tracy is running the Optima Ultimate Streetcar Invitational or Brian Heitkotter, those guys are pros. So if Vaughn Gittin Jr. ever ran in the series, he'd have to run in the outlaw class just because he's a professional driver. We don't want it to be the Optima Ultimate Streetcar Driver Series. It's the Optima Ultimate Streetcar Series. So that little asterisk there on the outlaw class. Getting back to the lightweight class, those cars are less than 3,200 pounds. Only have a couple running this weekend. Ricky Lamy, the 1977 Datsun 280Z, which we will see shortly. Now, because of the age, it could run in the vintage class. But because of the weight, it's less than 3,200 pounds, it cannot. Now, there's not that weight requirement in the compact class. It could run in the compact class if it wasn't a V8. The Datsun happens to be a supercharged V8, so it cannot run in the compact class because I think it has the wheelbase for it. But if it was a stock like Darren Garvin, when he runs his late 70s Datsun, he runs in the compact class. But because of the V8, and David Carroll has run a Datsun with a V8, Andrew Molina had several Datsun V8 swaps, those cars will have to run in that lightweight class. It cannot run in vintage, cannot run in the compact class. Another example of a lightweight car that would run in GTL would be the lighter Corvettes. That's the most common example. Josh Cummings, Porsche GT4. He would run a lightweight class. It could be all-wheel drive. The lighter Mitsubishi Evos, less than 3,200 pounds, would run in the GTC class. If you can get a Subaru WRX below 3,200 pounds, that would go into the GTL class. I think I made a mistake there. That would go into the GTL class. Not working. It says EOS Cam Utility. All right. All right. Let me see what I got going on with the camera here. Yep. It says the same thing for me. That might require a battery change. And it does. Okay, battery change. All right, I appreciate the heads up and the comments. Now the tricky part. Getting this camera positioned back on the roof of my car to where you guys can see the action on the track. Because I had it just about right before. All right. A little more of a turn to get that. There we go. Can you guys see it yet? Can I get some feedback here? I hope everybody didn't drop off. Encoding overloaded. All right. Got a couple yeses. Thank you, Tyler and Bree. I will work on the battery situation. You know, ironically, I ran this on batteries the other night when we tested it. And you can see those live streams here on the Optima Batteries YouTube channel. Interviews with several drivers, Eric Heller, who sets up our autocross course. I ran one battery for 2.5 hours, and the thing worked like a champ. So I had this battery plugged into the charger since it died this morning. I don't know how long it's going to last, so I'm just going to give you a heads up. Can somebody tell me in the comments if they can hear my voice but not see the camera when the camera goes out? And if that's the case, when the camera goes out next time, I'll just let you know we're going to have to shut it off there. Call it an afternoon. And then, again, a reminder, the awards ceremony will be on the USCA Ultimate Streetcar Association Facebook page, live as soon as this third run group wraps up. We'll get that thing going. And unfortunately, my studio app here for YouTube does not show me what you guys are seeing on the screen. I still see the EOS webcam utility. But when I'm on the OBS, it shows the screen. You can see I kind of have the camera propped up on top of the rental car here. So I think I was talking about the GTL class, your lighter Corvettes, Mitsubishi Evos, Ricky Lamy and that V8 Datsun. Those folks have to run in that GTL class. Viking Performance sponsors the GT class. Who's in that GT class? 1990 and newer. 4-seat coupes, sedans. So we have a first-timer, Cedric Hunt, running with us this weekend in a 2009 Lexus ISF. He runs in that GT class against the Camaros and the Mustangs of late model vintage. If we have a Chevrolet SS or Pontiac GTO, a later model one, show up, those cars would also run in that GT class. But it's primarily the Camaros, the Mustangs, an occasional Dodge Challenger or Charger. They would also run in that class. That's where the late model, some call them pony cars, some call them muscle cars. Let's just all call them hot rods. That's where they live. So I think I've done a rundown on all the different classes. Now, if you're like a Madre 915 and you're getting ready for your first ever event in May, give you some tips as it pertains to the Winrock Speed Shop Design Engineering Challenge, because that's really a differentiator in this series from every other motorsports series out there. Nobody does a car show in the middle of their racetrack event except us. There's a key. Actually, if you go to driveusca.com or driveoptima.com, you can see the results and the points for all the events we've run this season, last season, and many seasons before that. You can go into, there's drop-down menus in that points area. You can look at the design engineering results. There's a key in there that tells you the different segments that are evaluated. There's 10 of them that the panel of 3 judges looks at. It's best, I think a lot of folks that do well in design engineering have a script or plan, at least, of some sort. Then they cover off in order because the judges all have iPads, and it's easy if you go in order because then they can go in order and they're scoring on the iPad and put their points in for each segment. You got 4 minutes to present your vehicle to the judges. Some close to stock cars will be done well before 40 seconds. Some heavily modified vehicles could keep talking for 40 minutes and still not cover all the minutia of what was done to their cars. But for first time, I always recommend come on out and watch somebody. Even if you're competing that weekend, watch somebody at the front of the line that goes first. I can't tell you if there's a correct strategy or not in terms of when you go. Are the judges better when they're fresh at the beginning of the day? Do you want them later on in the day when they've seen a bunch of other cars and yours is just going to knock their socks off? That's, That's debatable. But I can tell you, if you've never done it before, go watch a couple other people do it. See how they do it, see their delivery. You're probably going to figure something out that you're going to incorporate into your own presentation. And if you're a competitor, we would encourage you to be a judge. John McKissack was supposed to run in a new build with us this year in the Go Moto GTC class. It's not done. Hoping to have it done in time for Laguna Seca. But he came out this weekend to judge. And we've had John Faulkner judge and lots of former competitors judge. Al Radonsky, I think, might have judged at one point for us. But it gives you a lot of insight into what's important, what matters, and what just doesn't matter. Like, one of the most common things that judges hear are all the things that guys haven't done to their cars yet but are planning on. They can't give you any points for stuff you haven't done. They can only give you points for the things you have done. So be focused. Make sure you pop your hood in your trunk and open the doors before the clock starts so you don't waste any time doing that after the clock starts. Here comes this third and final run group of the afternoon. Since Keith Smith led the other run group out, I'm going to say this one is Rick Ray because both of those guys are driving blue 71 Camaros. And that's the case. Hector Curel behind him. Ricky Lamy, we've been talking about him a lot. The Datsun behind him. 524 is James Pierce. Terry Breezy, Garrett Randall, Darren Voges. And here comes the Phillips. The first one is Kyle, the 56 Bel Air. Chris Picorni in between Kyle and his dad, Tony Phillips, the 55 Bel Air. And then I believe Michael Antonson, the 2019 Mustang, was the guy who might have had a mechanical issue yesterday. And then Wesley McFarland in the 74 GMC C10 came through there, last pickup truck. I think that's your final run group of the afternoon, so they're on their out laps. And again, we will continue this until these guys wrap up, and then I'll scoot over to the awards ceremony and get that lined up on Facebook, on the Facebook side, because that's where we've been doing it ever since Al Gore decided to uninvent Periscope. And I used to do Periscope, which was linked to Twitter, now X, because Periscope, when we went live, if you followed our Periscope account, it would ping your phone and alert you. And I don't know that Facebook does that when we go live on Facebook. So that was always appreciated by a lot of folks who wanted to watch the awards ceremony. So if you've never come out to the series before, it might be different than other motorsports series you've been in. Very friendly environment. If you have questions, ask somebody. You'll find these folks are more than happy to answer questions unless you're asking somebody, hey, would you mind rebuilding my engine for me? That might be a little bit beyond what people are willing to do, but they'd certainly be willing to help you in a lot of other ways. Tire pressure questions, setup questions. It's not top secret. Everybody here has a day job. Rick Ray leads the field by. Hector Curel behind him. And Richard Lamy, I call him Ricky Lamy. So the lap times we expect will be faster this afternoon. Race Monitor carries it. I don't have access to Race Monitor where I'm at with what I'm doing. But you can check the times over there. The rubber that was laid down yesterday was washed off by the rain. So we laid some down this morning. The SVRA vintage cars and the Trans Am cars laid some down this afternoon. And with the sun out, it's a little breezy. I would put it in the mid to high 50s. Cool, light breeze, not as much as yesterday, but partly sunny, partly cloudy. pretty ideal track conditions. And my car just shut off. So I'm going to keep my car running. Baller move with one of our competitors the other night. He had a truck and trailer, and we went to a restaurant that did not have parking for the truck and trailer, but the business next door didn't really, but it had the space for him to park it, and he just backed it in, left it running with the lights on. He said, it's a diesel. They like to run instead of sit anyway. And if you leave it running, nobody will dare try to steal it or mess with it because they think you're just running in. You'll be right back out. And what does he really use? You know, a couple gallons of gas, you know, $10 to leave it running. And sure enough, we came out after, you know, an hour or something in the restaurant, and it was still there, just like he left it. Pretty slick move. It's kind of like the move where you have a spare set of keys and a fake wallet, and you leave it on your desk at the office, and people wonder if you've cut out from work early, and they come into your office. Nope, he's still here. He's got his wallet and his keys on the desk. They don't know that's the spare set, and you've been gone for hours or never showed up that day. Robert Weathers, thanks for checking in. Appreciate you guys watching the coverage. Do my best to figure out where to get the best angle. I might investigate different lenses. This is a wide angle lens that I'm using, so it's not the biggest. It doesn't zoom in because it's stationary, but it gets them coming down that straightaway and coming through the turn and out of it. I know there's some technology that'll follow the cars. I'll look into some of that stuff, see how we can improve this as time goes on. But getting back to the competitors, you know, last weekend, and since Robert Weathers is in here, that's a perfect example. Dave Schatz, very talented driver in the series, was running his Camaro. He's based out of Arizona, Glendale, I believe. Hauled all the way to Sebring, Florida to run. He'd never run at the track before. And Austin Barnes was there from Texas via Florida. And running in the same class, Schatz ripped the front splitter off his car. And the first two people to step up and help him were Austin's father, Ted, and Robert Weathers, the two people on the team fielding the most competitive car to the car Dave Schatz was running that weekend. And potentially they made the difference because Schatz only beat Austin by a single point last weekend. That could have been the difference between Austin winning and losing, but that's the teamwork. That's the spirit of this series. We appreciate that out of our competitors. We don't mandate it. It's something that they bring to the series, and we can't be more thankful for it than we already are because it's phenomenal. It's a great attitude. Somewhat uneventful compared to the first session that I saw this morning where Gloniak slid down the hill sideways and flat spotted his tires. And yesterday, Antonsen slid off in this corner, I believe. And here comes Antonsen now. And Wesley McFarland coming through the GMC pickup. Don't forget, competitors, if you're driving down the road because you've already wrapped things up and you just wanted to see this last session and you forgot to take that transponder off of your vehicle, turn right back around and go find Adam Hanna. Get him that transponder back because he's got your credit card. I see Josh Wojciechowski loaded up already. Heck of a story for Josh. Had some real challenges last season with engine issues, and Rick Ray coming in hot here in the waning moments of this final run session of the weekend of the Falken Tire Road Course Time Trial. Great to see Josh back out running in the series. And I'm not telling you have to go watch anything, but here on the Optima Batteries YouTube channel, we do have some live streams from earlier in the weekend where we had some competitors. Kyle Nemechek was one, Jason Trantham was another, Matt Ramirez was on there. I don't want to name everybody and miss one and feel bad, but we had several competitors. Eric Heller, who sets up our autocross and our Peak Performance Challenge course, was on talking, and we were basically testing the live stream capability as Danny Weller was helping us dial that in. Thank you again to Danny for doing that. And we've got playlists on the Optima Batteries YouTube channel specific to this series. Now we have an Optima Ultimate Street Car Invitational playlist that has footage in car and otherwise from the Ultimate Street Car Invitational. We have a search, or actually the Optima Ultimate Street Car series, and that's the regular season stuff. And this includes competitor footage. So if somebody puts up an in-car video on the Classic Car Liquidators Autocross or the Peak Performance Challenge, we'll put it there, but we also have separate playlists just for those segments. So we have a Falken Tire Road Course Time Trial. So if Wes McFarland posts in-truck video from this session and we see it, we'll put it into that playlist. As I see a couple raindrops falling on us and dual flames shooting out of Wes's tailpipes, this is the spot to be at, Caleb Kelly. I don't know where you went, but lots of flames shooting out of the vehicles here. It's a pretty nice spot as they get loaded up with gas and then get back on the throttle and push the unburnt fuel out, or however that works. And Rick Ray making another lap. He was the leader in this last run group. So it's possible, as he's almost lapped Wes McFarland, that he maybe got an extra lap that nobody else did because he just went faster. And the rain is starting to fall. Hey, Robert, I'm glad you're watching on the big TV and the wide-angle view works for you. That's good to hear. I appreciate the feedback. Good, bad, and different. I appreciate all the feedback. Try to make it as good for the viewer as we can. Try to bring in drivers. We had CB Ramey in earlier today. And we had Josh Jones from Operational Speed Supply, new sponsor to the series. They're sponsoring the Most Improved Driver Award. And it's a really nice award. You've got basically a duffel, not a backpack. You can wear it as a backpack, but it's a duffel bag size backpack. And you can fit your helmet in there, your driving suit, your shoes, and a bunch of other stuff. And they've got a mug and some decals and some other stuff. It's a nice package that they put together. Lots of cool awards coming up at the show. So I'll remind you, Ultimate Streetcar Association's a Facebook page. Be sure to follow that. Head over there. I'll be doing the awards ceremony live on Facebook until such time where all my viewers here say we got to figure out how to do it on YouTube because we just like this better. I'm not positive that's the case yet, but we're working on it. So I'll thank you for watching. I'm going to sign off for now and get myself prepared for the awards ceremony. And remind you, if you want to watch more video content, the Optima Network is a free download on Roku and Amazon Fire, and you can watch all the past seasons, all the past episodes of Optima's Ultimate Streetcar series on Roku and Amazon Fire on the Optima Network. Absolutely free. DriveOptima.com is the website where you can go to learn more about this series and how you can have fun with us in your streetcar. Thank you all so much for watching. Safe travels to all our competitors, and we'll see you next time at WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca, California. From Thunderhill Raceway, signing off, this is Jim McElvain.